Good Thursday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, I will be tracking a major snowstorm across the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and interior New England through this week. Also, a major winter storm is possible next week with heavy snow and possibly some severe weather, and tracking an Arctic blast likely from late January into early February in this video. Again, looking outside here this morning, we have that strong upper level system moving across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes region, spreading some snow across the upper Midwest and the western Great Lakes. That will spread eastward into southern and southeastern Canada and eventually interior New England later on today and into the day on Friday. We also have these alerts for snowfall here across the Midwest and portions of the Great Lakes and even interior New England. We have winter storm warnings from Nebraska through northern Iowa, southeastern Minnesota, into the north woods of Wisconsin. This does also include the UP of Michigan. We have those winter weather advisories across portions of southern Wisconsin, getting back across southern Iowa, and then over here into New York State, northern PA, getting back into Vermont, New Hampshire, western Massachusetts, and western Maine, where we are anticipating at least a few inches of snow going into the day on Friday. But if you guys are with me on this video, definitely hit the subscribe button down below and the like button. That's the thumbs up button down below the video. It helps to get all of this weather information out to more and more people, so I definitely appreciate that. And again, you get all of my daily weather forecast updates here by hitting the subscribe button down below. So I definitely appreciate if you would hit both buttons down below the video. But here this morning into this afternoon, this is the noon time frame. We have that shield of snow across the upper Midwest here into the north woods of Wisconsin, back across the Twin Cities here into Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then across the UP of Michigan, a heavy stripe of snow. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 1 to 2 inch per hour snow rates across portions of the UP of Michigan going into that noon time frame. But where it's warm enough across the East Coast and the Mid-Atlantic, it's going to be rainfall across Pennsylvania, getting into New York State here, and then down that I-95 corridor at noon time frame today. That will spread farther east with that snow shield encompassing more of southern Ontario, southwestern Quebec, Canada by the 9 p.m. time frame, and still snowing across portions of Wisconsin, back across the UP of Michigan here, maybe some flurries down toward the Milwaukee and Chicagoland areas, and then farther to the east, we'll be introducing some snow across upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire. And then that I-95 corridor looks to be mainly rain from Boston back through Connecticut here and New York City through 9 o'clock this evening. And then going into Friday morning around 6 a.m., we have that snowfall spreading even farther east here around the Montreal region through much of the interior New England region as well. And that will continue in a big way through the afternoon and into Friday evening around 6 o'clock. So looking at the additional snowfall accumulations, what you can expect of what you've already seen on the ground now through Friday morning, an additional 5 to 8 inches is a good bet up here into north central Wisconsin and especially into the UP of Michigan and northern lower Michigan as well. A couple areas could overachieve, getting close to 10 inches up here across the UP of Michigan with those 1 to 2 hour per hour snowfall rates going through the morning on Friday. And then again, across portions of interior New England, across upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, getting into western Massachusetts, and then on up into western Maine. Again, another 5 to 8 inches is possible here across these areas going through the morning hours and the afternoon on Friday. This will also lead to travel concerns across the upper Midwest and portions of the Great Lakes. We have those minor to moderate travel inconveniences up here, especially around the Twin Cities, back in toward the Green Bay region and La Crosse, Wisconsin, and then as you get up into the UP of Michigan as well. And then going into the day on Friday, we'll have more of those minor to moderate travel inconveniences closer toward interior New England going into that Friday morning commute. And again, ice and snow, take it slow out there. Again, keep it slow. Don't use cruise control. Again, roads will be slick, so leave plenty of distance between you and the car in front of you as possible. And again, remain distant from plows as well. Help them, with getting more of that snowfall off the road by staying behind them and giving them plenty of space to clear the snow off the roads if you guys are traveling. But we're also seeing a warm side to the system. We have a marginal to slight risk of severe weather, mainly across Ohio today and eastern portions of Indiana. That's from the Storm Prediction Center. And we also have a 2% shading in central Ohio today as well for tornadoes. And we also have a threat for 60-mile-per-hour winds and even some quarter-size hail, especially initially across western Ohio later on today. The reason why we see that, we have a nose of warm air just ahead of a cold front moving up into the Ohio Valley, especially into central Ohio later today. Temperatures will be rising to the low and middle 50s. Dew points will also be rising here into the lower 50s as well across central Ohio. And when you combine that together, we'll build up that instability and have lift with that cold front as it pushes to the east into that slightly unstable environment. We'll start to see scattered supercells initiate across eastern Indiana, western Ohio, getting into that 2-3 o'clock time frame, and that will propagate its way eastward and expanding in coverage through the heat of the afternoon into early evening across portions of Toledo, Columbus, Ohio, and then getting over into eastern Ohio by 6 o'clock time frame. Dinner time frame out there, and then spreading into western and then eventually central PA as this weakens very quickly. As the sun does go down, the instability will wane, and they'll start to run out of energy for these storms going into the 11 o'clock time frame as it passes through Pittsburgh and it gets towards central Pennsylvania. With the setup here, I am concerned for damaging winds, again, around or over 60 miles per hour, and the tornado threat with that low-level jet still around 40 knots, 45 knots up here into central Ohio. There is a potential for a few isolated tornadoes, but then as we go into this weekend on Saturday, January 21st, we got another fast-moving storm system developing back down into the panhandles here of Oklahoma and Texas. Snow will be on the north side. This system will be more parched than the system we just had here through late this week. So it's going to be struggling for moisture, but it will have some across the southern United States, especially near the Gulf Coast and the Carolinas here. And it will be starving for moisture on the northern side for snow. So I'm not expecting a lot of snow with this going into Saturday and then eventually Sunday, January 22nd. Again, the snowfall shield will be from Kansas City through northern Missouri, north central Illinois, eventually encompassing the Peoria, Illinois area, Chicago, maybe just north and west of Detroit, including the Kalamazoo area, going from Saturday morning through Sunday afternoon here. A stripe of about 1 to 2 inches of snow with isolated 3 inches amounts getting back here and toward the Kansas City region and northern Missouri will be possible through this upcoming weekend. So again, not a big snow. It will be starving for moisture out there, but we're definitely going to be seeing some heavier rain with this system on Saturday the 21st across the immediate Gulf Coast here from New Orleans back through Mobile, Alabama, and just south of the Atlanta metro area here down toward Macon, Georgia. We could be talking about those 1 to 2 inch rainfall amounts down here on Saturday in those blue shaded colors. That is going to be concerning for some isolated flash flooding down here across Louisiana, portions of southern Mississippi, south central Alabama, getting through Georgia and northwestern Florida on Saturday. And then that will spread up the East Coast with mainly rain across portions of the I-95 corridor down through New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, down through Virginia and the Carolinas, and then back through Georgia on Sunday with those rainfall amounts there, averaging around 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches across those blue shaded colors. But then as we get into early next week, things get more interesting. On Monday, January 23rd, another powerful trough will dig down across the Four Corners region, and this time actually making headway into northern Mexico. So this is really going to dig far south. And then as we get into Tuesday, this will propagate across the southern plains into the Arklatex region, bringing some cooler air aloft for snowfall potential in North Texas and Oklahoma perhaps on Tuesday the 24th, and then that will spread up through the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee Valley as we get towards the middle of next week on Wednesday. And again, that subtropical jet will be activated, so we're going to see farther south low tracks here with these systems. They're going to be farther south, closer to Texas and the Gulf Coast, and then right up the East Coast through Maine during late January here. And you can see that low pressure system developing down near the Rio Grande Valley in northern Mexico on Monday, January 23rd. We're going to be picking up some of the moisture from the Pacific Ocean with that subtropical jet and the Gulf of Mexico moisture as well. And we'll be seeing some heavier snow breaking out across the Oklahoma City area, getting up toward Tulsa, and perhaps the DFW Metroplex could be seeing a couple inches of snow as we get into the day on Tuesday. Heavier rain, maybe some severe weather down here across portions of the New Orleans region, getting up through Jackson, Mississippi. We may have to watch for more of a marginal threat for severe weather on Tuesday, and that system will make its headway very quickly in towards the Ohio Valley as a 997 millibar low on Wednesday the 25th. Heavier snow could be breaking out this time across the Ohio Valley and again upstate New York back into PA here into Pennsylvania. We could be talking about several inches of accumulation with the track of this system, and then mainly rain across the immediate East Coast going in through the day on Wednesday, and that will bomb out around a 987 millibar low getting up into eastern Canada as that cold front stretches far and wide from Maine all the way south towards South Florida toward Miami. We could even see some sprinkles by this cold front getting into the day on Thursday. So again, looking at potential snowfall amounts, we're not going to put amounts out here yet. Disregard some of the amounts on the bottom of the screen, but it does show you that there is potential for snow across North Texas, Oklahoma through Arkansas, and getting into the western Tennessee and Ohio River Valley early next week. And then those potential snow amounts could be adding up potentially in a big way across the Ohio Valley and parts of New England getting through the middle and late portion of next week, and that could also include portions of Quebec, Canada, up toward Montreal as well. And then on the rain side of this system, these are potential rain amounts. Again, disregard some of the rain totals here. This will change, but it does show where the heavier amounts will be, potentially across the southeast, getting up toward the Carolinas early next week, and then spreading up here towards New England and the East Coast, getting into middle and late portion of next week. But we have the polar vortex to talk about here. This has been a big story. I've been talking about this for the last couple of days, and it's very, very cold up here into the Arctics, into northern Canada and Siberia. Very cold here. We're talking about temperatures that were 50, 60, even up to words of 80 degrees below zero were recorded up here into Siberia, which is very, very cold in January for sure. And this initially is going to stay up to the north during the middle portion of next week. With that storm system moving through, it's going to unlock the door for this cold air to move southward middle of next week. And then by the time we get to next weekend, some of this energy from the polar vortex will be nudging its way farther south towards the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes region. And we definitely could be talking about some very cold temperatures there, but still mild farther south across the Gulf Coast here from Texas through Florida and the Carolinas as we get into next weekend on Saturday, January 28th. And a closer inspection of this does show we could be going below zero for your high temperatures up into portions of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and perhaps even Quebec, Canada, and even into parts of the upper Midwest. Getting in towards next weekend for high temperatures, the Ohio Valley will be cooling back down to the teens and 20s, but again, the mild air will be farther south for the time being, but that will change as we get into Saturday night as this moves farther south. And again, these wind chill values could be down to around 30, if not 40 degrees below zero farther north into southern Canada. And some of these wind chill values into the teens below zero by next weekend will be possible across the upper Midwest and the upper Great Lakes on the outside of this polar vortex. It does also look very active to end the month of January and turn over to Wednesday, February 1st, mainly across portions of the southern and southeastern United States here with that active subtropical jet. We'll see more energized storm systems moving through. And again, you can see that subtropical jet here turning over to Wednesday, this should say February 1st. And you could definitely see that that active subtropical jet will still remain intact going in towards that February 1st time frame. So weather forecast recap for you guys here. Major snowstorm across the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and interior New England here through late this week. A major winter storm is possible next week with heavy snow and severe weather. And also an Arctic outbreak is likely as we get into late January through early February, especially across the north as we get towards that time frame. Again, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Thursday, everybody, and I will see you all in the next video.